everything is, yeah,
It's all up
everything
for
still
grabs.
matters.
You
No
mean, you
one's
said
gonna
it.
be lazy and floating off. It's all on the line. As for disrupts, again, we mentioned before, 8 points. So had they win this, they will have second place for now. Granted, teams have to play today, all teams. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
excited. It's still anyone's game, really.
Yeah, the season, I mean, we're at the halfway mark, and there's still a huge question mark on who's making playoffs. We're getting to these bans, though, and the first two are not the most surprising things in the world. Glaz gone, Blackbeard gone as well. Glaz, probably the most banned attacking operator these days. Blackbeard, very powerful on this map in particular. There's a couple of maps where he's really good on Coastline, another one where he often sees a ban. Echo going to be your third ban coming out for the defenders, and again, makes a lot of sense. Really powerful defensive operator, and if you're a team like Disrupt, you just don't like playing with them, take them off the field. Why not? The last one, Maestro. So a lot of plant denial off the board for the defenders. Mira sneaking through, that sometimes happens here on border. Valkyrie, another one that can sometimes get banned, so nothing too unusual here, man pants, but overall, some interesting things here.
Mira being unbanned is certainly interesting just because of how much she enables you to play forward on Armory. And playing forward on Armory at the double is so important. Because when you don't have Maestro and Echo to the point where you have all this information from afar and you can capitalize on any plants, this way you could just be at their face essentially and handle it from there. I really like Evil Waffle bringing out Hibana for this because it's the flexibility you need in order to attack Armory, which you will most likely be doing on every single round of border, because it enables the office push a heck of a lot more than the Thermite does. Because if you're a Thermite and you walk up to Archives from office, you will risk the C4 from below, as we've seen Disrupt do in the very first play day on border. They C4'd elevates Thermite from below. And Yeti mentioned that. That's why you don't bring Thermite if you want to attack offices. This way, you use the Hibana, you can safely hit exactly where that Mira is from outside. It's just more flexibility for teams, and it's very strong. And it would definitely seem right now that Scylla's Guerrillas completely understand that. They're setting up for office defense. They are ready for that type of push, especially when they see double hard breacher, which was 6 picked off in favor of Zofia, but still, they are very well aware of the fact that Hibana has added flexibility in where you would want to place those X-Caros.
100%. I think Mira being allowed is going to be a big reason why they're playing that operator. And then if you're taking it through offices, as you mentioned, it's just harder because Thermite's got to open up 2 walls, ideally, rather than just one. So if any of those gets shot up or anything like that, if anything gets impact tricked, you're kind of in trouble. But they're going to come around now and start to make their way in towards the bomb sites. We're starting to get live. Aravonia, actually a player I really want to watch throughout this matchup because, of course, the substitute moving in, he was a starter on this team throughout the qualifiers and in week number 1, but then they ended up picking up a new player. Temper came into the roster, and they moved Aravonia back to the bench. So he had a bit of a rough first week when he played in Challenger League. I'm really excited to see if he can step it up. I'm sure he's been waiting for this opportunity to play on the team again, and, well, it's going to be really important if he can show something. Looks like they're actually putting quite a bit of pressure onto the Armory Locker's wall, though, here, man pants.
Yep, and they're pushing in hard. So we mentioned they did drone work. They didn't want to bother with office, but Hibana, as I mentioned, just offers you the flexibility to at least have that option and forces the other team to at least respect that. And this is more or less what I meant. Granted, the mirror wall is, or not the mirror wall, sorry. In the office, that reinforced wall is now open, which forces the smoke out of small office. And now you basically have to play. You're not going to push much further than where Mex is playing at the moment, just simply because pushing up, you're in the crossfires of so many ACOGs. In fact, Mex is going to rotate out of Sandwich and back in. He's looking for any potential buck, and Yeti is very well aware of that. He heard the big man rotate down. He'll throw a frag grenade in, and this is going to be a back and forth for a bit.
He'll get it.
He'll lay down.
No,
He's currently stunned, but he managed to
Ooh.
get the shot on Mo peeking. Yeti will take out Era, attempting to help his team. Mex is a one-man army, though. Will pick up his second kill. Vertical play, not so successful for Disrupt at the moment. And it'll be up to Scilla Guerrillas just to delay these last 30 seconds. Quite easy when you have the Toxic Babes, as Spades takes out Abunai, and he just runs on in. We'll take out Temper as well. Pick up 3 kills just running in.
One man standing now. It's just Nugs. 15 seconds, all you got to stay. But the diffuser going down means that he's going to have to get on the aggression. 3 players to charge into. Nugs, a teammate, have kind of left him out to dry. And Evil Waffle shuts it down for Disrupt in round number 1. And I liked it. It was really funny when you said that it's not going to be too hard to defend as long as they got the Toxic Babes. And immediately the smoke died. So great work from the defenders to be able to get down and Mex get a couple of those kills. It was a really nice flank, but ultimately the anchors just couldn't hold on.
So that was definitely a back and forth, but a subtlety there that really opened up that round. The Hibana certainly helped because you forced the smoke out of small. But I do really want to talk about the fact that Mex had rotated down. Guess he did pick up the double kill, but no one proceeded to cover that run in, that wide swing from the bomb if you just run through Armory. And that's what ultimately killed Abunai, is that they just rushed it because no one was in sandwich or no one was in half metal to cover that run in. And it was up to Abunai, but Abunai was so caught up with getting the Toxic Babes out, making sure they did. There was a lot going on for one player, and ultimately Spades took complete advantage. And we talked about it. Spades, you have Mo, you have Yeti, and Spades is the one going nuts. Just popping off. And it's been nothing but beautiful for Disrupt, because that first play day, it was pretty much solely on the hands of Spades. But yeah, but now that his teammates have certainly picked up the slack, it's been nothing but a pleasure. We do see a switch to strategy from Scilla Guerrillas, which is not too surprising with how methodical Disrupt Gaming were in dismantling that last setup they had. All right, going into round 2. Disrupt Gaming up 1 with a pretty convincing win, despite losing 2 in a pretty horrific trade.
Yeah, we'll start to move on to the bomb site now. Going back to Spades as a player, I think guys like Yeti and Mo might get a little bit more of the credit. They might make the flashier plays, but he's the one who's attacking the bomb site. He's the one who's going to be anchoring down and just holding the team together as the team leader and as one of the more strategic players on the team, one of the shot callers. I think he's going to be a guy who is important to take note of, because he might not always be the man that's making the highlight plays, but a really important part of this roster. And so that first round getting a 3K, nothing to laugh about. We still have plenty of time to play with, though. Look at Nugs playing in the security rooms. This is a really far hold for Armory Lockers. You generally don't see people this far off of the bomb site. It's not super unheard of. It's definitely something that we see every now and again. Yeah, obviously the Twitch drone catching up the player in security, so we'll see if Nugs can actually survive for very long. But did you see it? Okay, it looks like he eventually got the Twitch drone. That took a long time though. I'm a little bit worried he's about to get pushed in or catch a frag grenade.
The Mira was taken out as well by the Twitch drone, so that enables at least an east stairs angle, and I believe that is the one Spades is currently in the process of, as the Mex opens things up with the kill onto Mo. And it's pretty much arrogance right now on the side of Scilla Guerrillas, and it's paying off at the moment, as they're just determined to hold inside CCTV, well, basically until they die. Temper with excellent rotation will catch Yeti off guard, but a lot of damage done up above as Era looks to take the man advantage. Few missed shots from him will let Reed refrag. A 2v2 with Temper off-site at the moment. A pretty risky peek from Mex will not be punished at the moment. I'm curious to see how well these air jabs do from Spades in terms of covering the retakes, because Temper was completely off-site. Mex goes down, Spades with excellent positioning, and now they have full control of the site. The plant will begin to go down. Temper has made his way into the hallway. Walking through Office and Archives is going to prove to be difficult. We do see Reed with the creep walk, but he looks the wrong way. Temper will take advantage. A 1v1 right now. You're lucky to have a Nomad in this situation. However, no air jabs, so that will not be in play, mostly just to cover runouts. And this little bit of a back and forth will continue. Right now, Temper has good positioning to take advantage, but the barricade up lets Spades reposition appropriately, and he'll use the Mira against herself. This is not looking so good at the moment if you're the Mira. A little bit of a tease from Spades, C4, everything. This is just an absolute
it's over.
Amount of torture from Spades. That was cute. That was really funny, actually.
The positioning
that's as good a BM as you can get, really. You pre-fire, you teabag, you destroy the C4, you hip fire, you destroy the Mira, you drop, and you teabag again. That was if you're ever wondering how to max BM, just follow Spades' entire career. It's a good person to watch.
The whole play coming out from Temper, I mean, he was on a little bit of an adventure. He went downstairs, he came upstairs. The attackers had no idea where he was, and that strange positioning from Souls Guerrillas, just playing the bomb site really loose, running around the map, threw off DG quite a bit, and it's the reason why they ended up in that final 1v1 situation. Unfortunately, the downside of playing off site and going off on your own, exploring, is that when the guys on the bomb site die, you need to come back in for the retake, and eventually, Temper just took too long. His path to come in through the Armory Lockers wall through security, that would have been a really good strategy had that doorway been opened up. Unfortunately, he made a lot of noise getting through there. There was no way around it. And so it was heard pretty well by Spades, and he was able to listen to sound cues and successfully defend that diffuser. So he puts himself up to 5 kills, a really impressive scoreline after just 2 rounds. It'll be tough to keep up that ratio, but as the game goes forward, I think he has more than proved that he is done his part. Still quite a long ways to go, though. 2-0 in favor of the attackers on border.
So I'm not so surprised we're switching bomb sites now with how well DG have dissected, I would assume, Scylla's Guerrillas' top 2 strategies for defending Armory. However, things are not boding well for Scylla's Guerrillas on defense if Armory was the site they were struggling on, because it doesn't get easier from Armory. Vent is still very viable, but easier, no way, no how. And I mean, obviously we'll have to wait and see how the rest of it goes. But Disrupt Gaming are coming on strong, and it has been nothing short of impressive so far.
I think it's important that they're swapping it up in round 3, because if they win it, if this is just like a site that maybe DG just totally failed at attacking, they can do it again in round number 6. The issue if you wait until round number 4 to swap things up is if it works, if it's a really good idea, you can't do it again. So I like that they're doing it now. If it fails, just try Armory Lockers again, you know. If it fails, you're in a lot of trouble, because you should be able to win some of these bomb sites as the defender. But, you know, at that point in time, you can maybe try it again. Do whatever you feel might benefit you the most. But no, this isn't a bad bomb site. Some teams, it's not common, but occasionally you'll see teams actually start down here. The shotgun play from Max. He's going so aggressive, and he'll get that kill on a Mo. That is unexpected, certainly from the DG players, and it's going to reward the aggressive play from the mute player. So great play by him. Nothing follows up from it either, which is a little surprising.
He made the play due to all the information that Nugs is currently feeding him. It was definitely a great play. Good use of sound and just information from teammates in general. But I'm decently surprised it's the first time we're seeing Pulse, but I'm certainly glad it's happening. Spades gets a little bit confused as to the crouch walking locations, and he'll ultimately end up taking a little bit of damage himself. Scylla's Guerrillas with a fantastic hold so far. This run-in worked last time, but it will not work this time, as Temper will sit Yeti down.
Wow.
And Max will put Reed right on his back, and it'll be all up to Waffle and Spades to duke out the 2v5 with a minute left.
Some great play, and then they're still rotating around. The positioning from SG is so out of like the ordinary. It's so strange that they're winning all these gunfights. Even Waffle, if he loses, this is gonna be a perfect round. Yes, it will. Nugs takes down his 2nd kill of the round, and really great hold up top. 3 guys tried to break into that top hold. They got absolutely nothing. Finished off with a 2K from Nugs. Absolutely brilliant job playing the information gathering operator, relaying that to his team, and even capitalizing off of it himself, getting 2 kills at the end of the round. So That's what I'm saying. I'm glad they did this in round number 3 and not round number 4, because they can come back to that bomb site when we get around to round number 6.
Right. Well, Caster's Curse there. They said it won't get easier past Armory, but that was one of the more terrific vent holds we have seen all
It was really good.
season. That was even from the setup alone, whoever came up with the strategy, it wasn't overly complicated, but it was certainly effective. And for those who don't know, if you don't get control of that first section of Armory, that white floor section up to bunker, you basically can't, you just straight up can't plant vent, because that is all vertical on vent. And you'll have to change your attack strategy, which is why you saw DG basically forcing the way through Armory, because they didn't feel like pushing through offices and getting control of archives and then planting and workshop. There's too many factors in that, whereas the Armory push into vent is definitely the smoothest for attackers. But Scylla's Guerrillas did so well to defend it, and that swing that we saw from Spades in the first round that netted him basically 3 kills, they adjusted. Scylla's Guerrillas adjusted this time. They had Temper behind the half metal wall waiting for somebody to make that wide swing around. Ultimately ended up killing Yeti, and a lot of things opened up for Scylla's Guerrillas. It really was just, you can't compliment them enough on how smooth and well executed that entire strategy was. Whereas DG, not necessarily looked lost, but that was certainly curious lack of adjustments from the vets themselves.
Yes, certainly. I mean, the good thing for them is now they can do attack on Armory lockers, which is not something you often say, but I mean, this is the bomb site that's been working out for them again. Scylla's Guerrillas, they really can't go to any other bomb site. I mean, ventilation, of course, locked for the next couple of rounds, and the other 2 bomb sites on this map just really aren't that good. So you're going to try Armory lockers again. Even if they fail it, I would not be surprised to see them try it a 4th time. And that's great for DG, because it seems like you've figured out this attack. It seems like you know what you're doing when you're attacking on this bomb site, and so I think they should be pretty comfortable just doing what they've continued to do. Notably, there has been a little bit of swap on the defenders' operators. They are bringing the Pulse once again. This time it's going to be Abenai who's playing it rather than Nugs, who played it when they were defending on Ventilation Workshop. He's playing downstairs, and I think this is good, because the one thing that's been going well for Scylla's Guerrillas is their positioning. It's been sporadic, it's been weird, but it's been paying off. When they can catch DG off guard, that's when they get the kills. They're not winning the standard play, so change it up, play a little bit weird. That's what's working best for you.
And they're simply digging through Armory based on just how much utility from Scylla's Guerrillas is devoted to this office hold, and they pretty much want nothing to do with that. And once they get the appropriate angles open, which is small office and the Armory wall itself, you force Scylla's Guerrillas all the way to metal half, and that's what we're seeing here, where DG have control of what they need, which is that white tile section that Yeti is digging up from bunker, and rest from there gets way simpler, as we saw it before with Spades just walking in. This time, though, a lot of gunpowder devoted to this sandwich holds. Mex is no longer backing off. There's just a lot of manpower right now, and they're certainly ready for a push in. It isn't a soul smoke with an SMG-11 here to duke this out himself.
A lot of time off that clock, though, and still 10 players remain on the board. DG, they need to start making something, and they need to start making it soon. Clearly, Aravonia. They've managed to break open the deployable shield, and planting the diffuser is Evil Waffle. If they just let him, they're going to have to. Reed, watching the flanks, and be able to watch Aravonia before you can get anything, and the diffuser will go down. Mex gets a kill, Mex gets 2, but Spades will retrade it. It's a 3-on-3. Now they need to be able to get this disable onto the diffuser. They're worried about somebody still being outside, but everybody is on rappel, so they could actually just start this and have somebody watch over the person who's getting the disable, and that might just work out for them. But the run out comes forward. Yeti's able to shut it down, but not before Mex gets the kill on a Mo. 2-on-2 now, and this diffuser is going down halfway through. They need to be able to stop it. The attackers have to push forward. Spades will get the kill on a Nugs, but he has no time. Scylla's Guerrillas take round number 4.
What a diffuse strat from Temper, and what a misplay from Spades. Oh, what mind games from Scylla's Guerrillas to blow the shotgun hole right through and do the diffuser from, oh my goodness, do the diffuser from small office, which basically disabled Yeti on the rappel. What a wonderful play from Scylla's Guerrillas. And really back and forth from both teams. Both teams made great, terrific plays for the situation that game, specifically Scylla's Guerrillas switching off the smoke hold inside of Armory, where that was completely uplifted based on the Habana pick before, because the Habana just used her Excaros to get rid of the smoke from that, basically disabling the use of smoke. This time they went with wall denial and gunpowder, with Era switching over to Bandits. So, well, good plays themselves, Guerrillas. Good mind games at the end. Well played from DG to, we mentioned it, recognize the situation. You get the Armory wall open, at least for an angle. You get control of small office, and you just go for the plan in white. You don't need to do much. You don't need to clear out the other 4, and they showed you why. I mean, I say they showed you why. They got the plant down, but still, as Guerrillas showed why that you should probably start clearing this out. It was definitely a back and forth. It was a really good play. Oh my goodness. It was a really good play from Temper. I love the way he just looks at it. Really good play from Temper. A bit of a misplay, though, and a miscommunication, because everyone thought that plant was coming on the other side of the wall. And I'm not really sure where Yeti's positioning was, that he wasn't calling that out. So I don't know really what happened with that. I might have missed something. But still,
Yeah. I don't know. I think it was a bit of a misplay. Certainly it was. We have the ACOG coming out from Max. He's been an absolute key player in getting these last couple of rounds for SG. We saw on the scoreboard he's got 8 kills. He's taken that title of the highest kills in the server away from Spades, who was on your screen just then. And Customs Customs Inspection, excuse me, is a bit of a harder bomb site to defend. I don't think I'm breaking any boundaries by saying that. We're going to start by opening things up into the detention, but at the moment haven't actually entered the building on the first floor. You can see they're clearing out the top floor, and every single bomb site on border, it's important to clear out the top floor. We saw that in round number 3 when they were defending Ventilation Workshop. They kept players up there, and it helped them quite a bit. The attackers had no room to push onto the bomb site. All their players died pushing up top. So they've taken control of offices. They've taken control of about half the top floor. Still, though, Armory Lockers is where they need to get into, because this is where the defenders are going to be holed up, and this is where they're going to have a lot of opportunities to shut down people from above. This, ooh, oh no, look at this position. Nugs, they don't know he's back there, and they're focused fully on the hallway. If he pushes forward, he's about to get a kill right here. Yes, he will. Takes down Spades.
You know, and he's just popping off right now and left unchecked. I'm decently surprised Disrupt Gaming did not find him initially, and he'll bring it within reason for his team. Heroics from Nugs is keeping this from being a 5v4 in favor of DG. And the little bit of back and forth will continue, and we know as much as anybody the reason Customs isn't selected so much is because you have to hold CCTV as a defense, and you just saw there as to why and how hard it is to hold CCTV. Temper and Max were completely uprooted, I'm sorry, Abinai and Max were completely uprooted from CCTV in a matter of seconds. That was an absolute joke to them, and had they droned out Nugs, we're looking at a 5v1 at the moment. Regardless, though, the wall will be opened up, and Era still has a shot in 80s to grasp this round, as he has a C4 in hand with time ticking down and a pretty good gun in the MP7.
The last player alive is the substitute. He's firing up at the hatch. He's got to worry about a man up above him. He's got to worry about a man. Oh, sorry, 2 people on his floor as well. One's into the bomb sites, but it'll be Reed who takes him out, I believe, from up above, unless he had dropped. Yeah, he's coming around from the first floor. So Reed doing really well, at least getting a 2K in that round. And that's another player who's really consistent for this roster. One of the players that maybe people, I don't want to say sleep on, but kind of gets outshined by the big stars on this team. Reed, I think, though, the newest player coming in, or at least their youngest player coming in to Disrupt Gaming, has had a really big impact on the team. As more of a support player, but still somebody who can frag out when the situation requires.
Going back to Ventilation, you mentioned it, a good time to do that with that third round. It'll open them up, and we saw how smooth their strategy was that last time. And however, something to keep an eye out for, DG are not a team to just keep trying the same thing that isn't working. So there will certainly be a strategy around that castle and pulse play, especially from underneath. And the Montaigne being brought out is the thing to keep an eye on. They're basically just going to force their way into bunker. So last time they were face checking into that shotgun. This time they'll have a Monty more than likely making his way just directly into Armory, just opening things up for his team that could not be opened up before. It is interesting, though. Granted, Spades is their Monty player. It is interesting, though, that Spades is the one to be playing Monty here with how well he has played all game so far.
Yeah, it is a little bit strange because he is the top fragger. Generally, you want to put somebody who's...
Stop trying it, Nugs!
Is this even possible?
Practice,
I mean, he's tried it so many
dry
times.
runs. You got to practice and dry... I don't know what... It looks like it's hitting the right...
It's hitting the bar.
I'm
yeah,
with
certainly.
him. He's lined...
The
Oh,
beam.
come on.
No, let's go back.
Oh, what was that? That's content,
well.
bro. What, Keg, what are you doing? By the way, our producer for tonight is the wonderful Crater, which is why it's not Stokes this week, which is why everything is smooth right now, and it's not Hunter, which is why the gameplay doesn't look atrocious. So, thank you to Keg Linek doing the observing, and Crater for the producing. Again, we are also casting on a different channel. Uzumaki and Sternap are taking the other games on Play today. Do not forget, we have 4 games as usual, with this being the first. Spades rocking the new uniform for Montaigne.
I love it.
That beautiful pink outfit. And we're going to see how badly Abunai hates that outfit, or he may or may not be working with the team here, just being a fan. Temper opens things up with the kill onto Yeti. Bulk off the board isn't the biggest loss, but a loss nonetheless is certainly going to hurt your chances.
We see
what
the
heck?
Montaigne. What? That's gonna land on a Mex? Spades playing it perfectly through the little peek hole. It works out for him. All things considered, we'll just give it to him. The Buck, as well as the Mute, both off of the board now, makes it a 4-on-4. As moving to the halfway mark, Spades continues to push forward, and you got to be worried about that player from down below because the pulse has been really important for Scilla's Guerrillas, and I hope that Disrupt Gaming are thinking of that. You can see they've got drones looking through the floorboards and stuff, so they should be aware of things. But if they're not careful, they could be caught out by a C4. Most up top.
And they are very well aware of that, and I believe they heard it, hence the rotation from most of their players. Granted, they have control of that white tile armory that we talked about, so the next focus that you want to do is vent. That's pretty much the next step here, especially when you have control vertically. And that's what we're starting to see the setup from DG come out. With 2 smokes available, this could be a very successful plant. Granted, they have to go against 2 C4s, which definitely could work against them. This is going to be an interesting back and forth with 40 seconds left.
Yeah, they haven't gotten a ton of top floor control. I think there's still 1 player playing up there, but they have mostly forced the defenders out of it. Again, that big trade, getting a takedown Mex was an important part in relieving the pressure coming from the top floor. 30 seconds, the diffuser will start to get planted for just a moment, but Aravonia comes around and shuts it down. Reed will take down Temper, who is the other player who's going to get one. And Aravonia, look at this. He had a really great positioning, but just wasn't able to land any of the kills. That shield helping out the Montaigne quite a bit. He's going to rotate up top, and Reed downstairs is the man doing a ton of damage. Nugs and Aravonia now just need to hold on for 10 more seconds, but Spades is going to start this plant. If they can deny it, this will be huge, but he's under the cover of smoke, and of course, he's got that shield on his back. Nugs coming around. Will he be able to find it? Yes, he will. Scilla's Guerrillas take the round at the same time. Aravonia, the headshot onto Reed.
So you mentioned before that Scilla's Guerrillas just have experience on this map, and it's showing in spades, no pun intended, where that was a very strong, okay, let me back it up a little bit here. The rounds they lost, very forgettable for them and certainly learning opportunities. But whereas the rounds they won were just in very dominant fashion. They perform so well on their vent defenses, where that almost might be the site they want to keep going and forcing for as long as they can. Their ventilation defense is wonderful. It opens up the map for them to rotate around, which they're making terrific use of, but it also enables all their players to basically freelance, which is something they are especially good at and something that got them into Challenger League in the first place. Granted, it's 3-3. I mean, you could argue every map is a defender-sided map, so it's not exactly the result you want from defending first. And DG, you can be sure, are going to have a couple tricks up their sleeves for these remaining defenses.
Yeah, I think it was not a bad. It was a good recovery. That's what it was for Scilla's Guerrillas. The way that they were playing, being able to go all around the map, they had so many different strategies. They could swap things up. You can only get that by being really comfortable on a map. So I think it's really important to notice that this is a map that they played more than any other map in the qualifiers, and then of course haven't banned it at all during this season. They haven't played it every game, of course, because sometimes other teams have banned it against them. But this is a map that they're quite comfortable on, and it is showing in this match. Still, though, Disrupt Gaming, as you mentioned, moving on to the defense, this is going to help them out quite a bit. They've got their own strategies. Reed with a very interesting mirror play, putting it inside of security, looking down the long hallway. That's going to give them a ton of information, and I wouldn't be surprised if you see Spades with the ACOG playing in security to try to hold on to that angle, because you can look for so far down. The drones from Nugs catching that out just now and realizing, uh-oh, this is going to be tough to try to deal with. Maybe we just want to take it in a different way.
And it's the same defensive strategy that Scilla's Guerrillas had done prior in one of their armories, and their second armory defense. This is the same strategy we had seen before, so it's not that Disrupt are at all unfamiliar with this, neither are Scilla's, so that it won't be a strategy at all is the reason why, as the biggest outlier for the reasoning. It's not necessarily catching any of these teams off guard. Now we're seeing a rotation from Scilla's Guerrillas where initially they looked like they were pushing towards CCTV, but now we're seeing a pretty heavy emphasis on attacking Office. Mex with an excellent opening pick onto Spades, and not the player you want to lose if you're a DG.
No, certainly not. I mean, the Doc, maybe not the most utility, but Spades has just been so influential so far in this matchup. So I like they put him on a frag and operator, just didn't manage to frag out in this round here once they swapped over to the defense. Yet he considering that C4, but he's already having troubles with drones. I don't know if I love this play. Although, is that the perfect timing? No, not quite. Running back is temper, and he's not going to fall to that. He will fall to the headshot, though, and that works just as well, doesn't it? Coming around through the window evens out the player count, and we've got about a minute 20 left to go in this round. It's the 4-on-4. Not looking terrible for the attackers. Our run out comes, oh no, temper. He's going to get a kill and also a kill onto his teammate, as Yeti runs into that, triggers it, and gets both himself and one other.
Yeah, that's not Era's fault whatsoever, just simply because that was just good timing from Yeti. I mean, he was just listening to footsteps, but, I mean, a forgettable play, regardless, though. 50 seconds left of 3v3. As the time ticks down, though, the defense is going to get more and more favored. That frag grenade will more than likely be heard, at least as far as being pulled. And Evil Waffle will just sort of dance around for the time being. He knows he is the main line of defense going into this as the Toxic Babes start to ring true. Reed almost gets, I'm sorry, that's Modiga almost gets picked off through the wall. We do see Mex inside already. C4 will miss. Waffle has one more Toxic Babe now. Coverage from the air jabs are going to be all that's left to assist these two players. Oh. Air jab goes off and Mex takes advantage. Reed is taken low and Reed is finished off. It'll be all up to Mo. Mo picks up one. Diffuser is not going down with 3 seconds left.
They have to get the kill.
Nugs will have to get a plan off, but he's going for the frag instead. Well played by Mo. Good coverage. A bit. No, that was just a really good back and forth from these two teams, regardless of the result. I mean, good coverage from the air jab. Good job on Reed to pick off initially who was in office. Mo with the rotation. All around, this is one of the best games we have seen so far from CL, and it's just the first game of the day.
Yeah, no, that whole round was pretty nuts. Mex having a huge play. First, the air job coming out, and then getting a 2K following up on his own utility. I think that was a really great Nomad play from Mex. You're starting to see players, right? You're starting to see players come out as big Nomad players. And maybe at the start of the season when this update first came out, people were like, oh, she's not that impactful. Oh, she's not that good. I think people just had to get good with her because, man, oh, man, she's having a huge impact. And then, of course, at the end of that round, so smart from the last player on Disrupt Gaming to be able to hold it back. Get that first kill. You know there's one guy. You know he can either plant, in which case you'll come back in once time hits 0 and you'll kill him, or he's going to try to push you. So you just run as far back as possible. Say, yeah, come push me. A little bit slow on the side of, I believe that was Nugs, the last player on SG. and wasn't able to get the kill before time ran out. So really smartly played on the side of Disrupt Gaming, and that's what you expect to see from this team, right? Is a team full of veterans. It's a team that a lot of people have pegged as one of the better teams in Challenger League. So you expect them to be making these smart plays, and on the fly decision making really has never looked better.
Yeah, and the setup from Disrupt Gaming is certainly interesting. They had cut off that just quick run into ventilation. However, that might come back to hurt them as far as retakes are concerned. Scilla's Guerrillas look like they are set up for this white tile push from CCTV, and that is going to be certainly a little bit of a talking point here as we see a pretty heavy devotion to customs defense from DG, and that's simply all retakes. That is entirely to play retakes, expecting the plant to go in vents. I'm excited to see how the rest of this round turns out, just based on the fact that both of these teams are going to clash in what is set up to be a very epic way.
Yeah, so when Scilla's Guerrillas had their very first defense on this bomb site, they did a really good job of holding down the top floor. Disrupt are trying to replicate that. That's why they've brought Mo on the Vigil. That's why they brought a lot of these fragging operators. You've got Spades, you've got Reed playing these operators that can really pop off. Mo playing in the office is going to make it really difficult for him to be forced out of this position. And so the longer you can hold up top, the better your hold's going to be on the first floor where the bomb site actually is. Yeah, they've still got a couple of guys down there who are going to be holding down the fort just in case. But there's been a lot of hesitation from those girls. We're almost halfway through this round, and they're just now starting to get into the top floor. They're just getting into the break room, and they haven't even really dealt with the roamers. So a lot of great time wasting from DG, and a lot of that is just based off the operator selection. Mo being on to Vigil, I think he did get seen there. The position was caught by the drone before he was able to pop off that ERC. So he's going to have to rotate now. But either way, a lot of time gone. Still 5-on-5. This is great for the defense.
Yeah, and Scilla's Guerrillas spent all that time droning out because this is certainly unique defense, devoting 2 to office and 2 to customs. It's not as common as we have seen. Normally, it's a pretty decently heavy armory defense, but not this time around. And Scilla's Guerrillas are just pretty much opting to not clear anyone out, and they're just setting up for the plant right now. They have the control they want, as we mentioned, on the white tile, and they don't really feel like giving a damn of the rest of these roamers. And we're going to see a plant execution start to come out as vertical control is secured right now from SG.
This could be really dangerous. If Mo and Spades rotate back forward and catch the enemy team off guard, they could get so many kills and really pop off. Of course, the benefit of this is that you're not losing your own players, and if Nugs and Mechs are watching the flank exactly as they should be, it's not going to be a problem. Looks like these defenders have not had their plans go correctly. Now C4 will fly out from Yeti, and the planter will start from Albanite with a shotgun, though. Yeti should be able to stop this. Oh no, he doesn't. He doesn't even be able to get the down or anything, and Scilla's Guerrillas, in a fury of kills, will win round number 8 and just not go in the way to plan, or according to plan, for Disrupt.
And I talked about how unique the strategy for Disrupt Gaming was, and it was not a great idea, or at least the execution of the idea was not up to par whatsoever.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about how vital that white tile is, and that's basically what most teams need to get control of up to bunker and armory. And you really don't even need control of half metal either. It's pretty much primarily that location on white tile. And you saw SG drone out for a bit, rotate maybe to office, rotate back to CCV, and said just, oh, heck it. We're just going to go with the execution. A flawless round, an impressive one, certainly, as they knew that Disrupt were playing for the retake, and they just covered every single flank.
Okay, so this is a bit weird. They have Ventilation Workshop still open to them because they just lost their last round, but they're going to go Customs Inspection instead. And you'll rarely see this from teams because generally, like, Armory Lockers is just significantly better than Ventilation Workshop, and Ventilation Workshop is significantly better than the other bomb sites. So you'll rarely see teams not play on Armory or Ventilation when given the opportunity. I guess they just felt like their Ventilation Workshop was totally picked apart, and to be fair, it was. It was a great round from Scilla's Guerrillas, but it might be a little bit worrying in terms of the confidence that Disrupt have in their second bomb site, because we still have quite a few rounds to go in this halftime. It's 4-4. We're probably going to round number 12 in this matchup. Maybe not, but it's looking likely here. So that's a bomb site that Disrupt are gonna have to defend on sometime in the future. I don't like that they're not confident enough to go back to it a second time. It could also speak words on how confident they are on their customs inspection hold, but again, it's just not a bomb site that many teams feel confident playing.
Yeah, and we talked about why customs is seldom seen and why we see more often than not the teller's defense being picked, and it's because that you need to get control vertically for this site, and holding customs is so heckin' difficult. Granted, they have gunners right now for DG ready to defend customs, but it is so hard to defend upstairs in CCTV, and it's going to be what makes or breaks the rest of this round.
Minute in already, and you can tell Albanai is up here, Temper's up here as well. They really want to get into security. They'll set the Claymores. Hopefully it's not going to result in another team kill this time, but getting Spades out, as you mentioned, is going to be pretty crucial to being able to take this bomb site, because if you don't, you really can't plant in the default spot, because he's just going to look on down and he's going to shoot your head off. So you're worried about that, but ultimately, I mean, they haven't done a ton to get rid of it. Before, what their strategy was to kind of just ignore the roamers who were playing around. Nice grenade from Nugs. My. Evil Waffle goes down. Before, the strategy was just kind of ignore them. I don't know if that's going to work as well on this bomb site, just because it's so important to hold on that. But Albanai might be in a gunfight. He's got that scope out, but Mo takes quite a bit of damage before retreating back inside of the customs desk. Stays alive, and that's going to be so important. Yeti not so fortunate. Mex is able to take him down, and Mo still able to do a lot of damage from inside. He's trying to find it through the wall, but he's not able to get it. 5 attackers still alive as that plant will go down. Only 3 defenders to try to come in for the retake from the wall. 1 will get downed, a 2nd will get killed, and it's going to be all up to, well, Spades actually pick himself back up, and he's going to be able to help out Reed. He's going to need to do it all himself. He's worried about someone up above. Through the hatch, he'll get 1, but he can't get 2. SG, round number 9, goes their favor.
What a round, and SG are proving us completely wrong. This is nothing short of impressive. I do question from Disrupt why that plant managed to go down. I don't believe they lost control of CCTV, and as you saw there at the end, you have angles onto that default plant spot from up above. I'm not sure where
did Spades go?
I'm not sure how that was. Yeah, and I even I'm a bit confused. Talking point, certainly. They clearly had control of it and were confident enough to plan. As we saw at the end, Spades was the last one alive, so I guess they were forced out of CCTV, but I'm still decently shocked, just because it looked like the hold was basically foregone, or the attack was foregone upstairs.
Might have just been that Spades saw 2 of his teammates die, decided, you know what, fine, let me pop on down to the bottom floor and see if I can help out more here. Nobody's really pressuring me up top, and as soon as he went downstairs, everybody from the attack pushed into security and had really good angles to stop any attempt of a disable. Looking at the scoreboard now, and you see a couple of players who are not really picking it up on DG. Evil Waffle playing down, not the worst thing in the world. He's a bit of more of a support player. If he's not getting all the kills, that's not the end of the world for you. But Mo in particular, only having 2 kills, that's a bit of a worry. If you look back at the match stats, and I noticed this, I didn't mention it for the game, but the games where Mo plays well are the games that DG wins. The games where Mo is a little bit asleep at the wheel, those are the games that he loses. Being the entry fragger, being the roamer, he's the man that they're really counting on to get things started for them. And so if he's not showing up, DG can struggle just a little bit. I wouldn't say they're struggling too much. I mean, they've gotten 4 rounds. That's certainly respectable. But as this game has gone on, we've seen them struggle a little bit. And so I'm not saying they should be worried, but things are starting to look a little bit risky for them.
And we're seeing a very similar defense from DG from the first round. And they are going to probably just hold it the same exact way. And last time they had won this, but it was a very close ending to the Archives push for Scylla's Guerrillas that last time. And we'll have to see if it's repeatable here. Mex is on rappel inside a sandwich, and Spades heard the drone come out. It's just a matter of how aggressive he gets from here on in, and This back and forth is looking more and more like we are going to potentially see this Office into Archives push come out from Scylla's Guerrillas. And that is right into the teeth of Disrupt Gaming, and this might very well come back to bite them in the butt.
Oh, and we're going to have a great opportunity from Temper pushing in. He's got the pings. That's all he needs, but he loses that gunfight. Oh, Yeti come out on top. That's going to be a really big frag, being able to take down the Thatcher. Likely had already used his utility up, but still, Temper's been a really big player so far in this game for SG, and a fight that Yeti likely shouldn't have won. All the information was there for the aggressor, so that's actually a really great fight that was able to be won by the Bandit. Puts them into a player advantage, one they're going to need, because this attack is going to start to come forward. Nugs is going to even that out. Yeti not quite the superhero that he had started off as. It's going to be a 4-on-4 now as they make their way into the offices. It's going to be more of an office push, and Mo just jumps on downstairs as, hello, Nugs, I'm going to blow off your brains. He's watching for the next person to rotate down the staircase. I think he can hear it, but regardless, Aubeneyes doesn't really want to commit to that. He knows he's got a plant that he's got to worry about, but if he's not careful, Mo can come up from behind and cause a lot of trouble. Got a couple of guys still anchoring in from the bomb sites, and Spades will be able to open things up on the Aubeneye. That's another player down, pushing forward. Aravonia will get one before traded out by Spades, and leaves it all into all in a mechs in a 1-on-3. Mo trying to start up and come for this rotation to get back onto the bomb site. The defenders have the defuse. This looks all but won. 30 seconds for Mex to try to pull out something amazing. He'll start it off well onto Reed. If anybody can do it, it might just be Mex. He's been an insane fragger for Scylla's Guerrillas. On the floor, though, Mo will be able to train his sights and win it for Disrupt Gaming. 5-5. We're definitely going the distance, man pants.
That was straight fundamentals from Disrupt Gaming with their rotations, the timing of things. Everything was quite good. And where Yeti was positioned entirely for the C4 from below onto that thermite plant. And we saw it on the very first time they played Border on the first match day. He got the C4 onto Elevate on the thermite planting and office. And that's ultimately what won them the round. There, they were hunting for him, and because they obviously were well aware of that, and I guess, as the kids say, unlucky, because that was a really good rotation from Temper being escorted by that drone. Just unfortunate that Yeti was hidden behind that blue stack, and Yeti just with one hell of a flick. Clearly did not hear the Thatcher come in, but once he saw the drone, he was quick to action. We will see event defense come out from Disrupt Gaming. This could potentially go into overtime. I'm curious to see if either of these teams can put 2 rounds together.
15 kills from Mex. He is pulling this team up, putting in a monstrous performance. Right now playing the Ash, but he's been playing a whole host of operators so far in this game. So really proud of him. When we talk about Scylla's Girls, oftentimes we talk about a couple of players that can pop off. We talk about Mex, we talk about not loading. Of course, I was worried because not loading, not being on the team for today, I thought that might hurt them, but Mex has clearly stepped up and been able to fill those shoes quite nicely, as he has in the past. Right, when not loading's not putting up the crazy numbers, Mex is often the other one who's going to show up for Scylla's Guerrillas. So put in a big performance, has led his team to 5 rounds on the board. Looking for 2 more to get that 7-5 victory. And it's looking kind of likely. I mean, for Disrupt to win this game, they're going to have to successfully defend Ventilation Workshop and then successfully defend on a customs inspection. First of all, not an easy task just at the start of things. Second of all, a task that they've already failed at, right? They failed at both attempts of those. They've only been able to defend on armory lockers, so this is looking pretty bad for the defense.
Yeah, and it's mostly game plan oriented. It's the reasoning for their departures from Ventilation as far as successful defense is concerned. Here we're seeing a lot more, meta things coming out from DG. Good rotations, especially from Mo so far to just harass Scylla's Guerrillas. But we mentioned it. Scylla's Guerrillas want control of up to bunker and maybe towards sandwich, but you don't need a ton of army control to call for the execute here from Scylla's Guerrillas. And that's really what they're looking for. However, Spades is looking to end that. He'll take off the top frag of Mex. And yeah, you said it. That is devastating right now from Scylla's Guerrillas, as he has been carrying a lot of the weight in terms of frag.
Yeah, if you're going to win this game, that's how you're going to have to start it. Taking down the best player in the server for this matchup. I would say Mex performed better than anybody else this game. We see a bit of a standoff happening inside of Armory lockers. Who's going to peek it first and who's going to come out on top? Aravonia just holding this really tight angle because it's mostly being protected by the soft wall. That black eye camera is going to help a little bit. A tad bit of information, but eventually gets shot out. And Aravonia doesn't want to take this too aggressively. C4 flies out. There's only 60 seconds. You've got to get in and take control of that at some point. Spades will open another angle, try to catch Aravonia off guard, but he's playing it really passively. He's actually jumped on down. They're mostly focused on this bottom floor. That means they're basically just leaving Armory lockers to be free reign of the attackers. That works out for them so far. Albanai able to get a kill onto Yeti. 40 seconds remain in this round, and it's a 4-on-4 through the window. This is what happens when you forfeit the top floor control. They can play these angles that you really are going to have a lot of trouble with. Finally, we see one player up top starting to make his way forward, and if this frag grenade lands, it'll be huge, but he needs to throw it before Spades kills him. Won't be able to do it. Spades pushes forward, and Nugs gets caught off guard. That makes it a 3-on-4. Now able to watch this angle for even longer. Reed and Mo both going to get a kill apiece. The gas grenades are out. It's all on Aravonia, the man who is playing from up top. He drops down, he gets one, but he can't get any more. Disrupt put themselves on a match point, and they cannot lose this game.
Yeah, and that was what I was mentioning before. The reason for their event loss last time was really just strategy rather than just any individual skill failing, where they had 2 in office, 2 in customs, and they played for retake, and they just got absolutely taken out flank watch. This time, I think Scylla's Guerrillas relied a bit too heavily on the flank watch from the sledge, because as soon as the sledge went down, it was freaking, it was, all the zoo doors opened up and everyone was just running at each other. That was, it was pretty much the little bit of rubble to like throw the rock down the mountain. And they had one flank watcher for upstairs, and that's ultimately what gave them confidence to make the execute. But poor execution resulted in the sledge's death, and here we are with Disrupt Gaming taking the 6-5 lead. And this is not at all how I thought this map would go. Just not necessarily from the score and Scylla's Guerrillas being close to Disrupt, but more so on how well Scylla's Guerrillas have executed. They've had 2 flawless wins, or just
flawless rounds.
5-0 wins, both on attack and on defense. That's dominant, and something we have not seen from Scylla's Guerrillas this season. So a hopeful sign for things to come, because we talked about it. Halfway point of this season happens during this match day. So if this is the Scylla's Guerrillas we're going to be seeing for the other half of the season, then we're in for one hell of a treat for NA.
Scylla's Guerrillas, a team that are always potential for that upset. They can do some crazy stuff. We saw it when they played during the closed qualifiers and won every single match in the lower bracket after losing their very first game. So this is a team you really can't count out, that I think we're being reminded of that here today. Disrupt Gaming, I would have, again, thought this would have been a dominant match for them, but oh, a great impact trick coming out. I'll cut myself off because that was so nice from Evil Waffle. But they've been playing really well the last couple of weeks. So, I mean, they're not going to lose again. So, there's going to be 5 games in a row where they don't lose, at the very least. It might be another tie, though. And ultimately, this is a team who's trying to get up onto that standings. They're trying to get into a playoff position. Ties don't really get you there.
Yeah, and when we talk, I mean, these teams are not where they want to be in the standings. They need the win. The win is so vital to these teams, especially for Disrupt, because they've had experience in PL even, and that is to not be there right now. Trust me, it hurts them for the moment, and they're determined to get back. It's a pretty good start with taking out the Hard Breacher in Thermite, so the tension will stay up due to the good impact tricking from Waffle. Yeti unfortunately falls himself. However, camera's out. You're basically only losing a C4 there, as the MPX basically just tickles you.
For sure. Reed gonna get another one onto Temper. Again, further pushing it towards the defenders. Disrupt Gaming, I was kind of counting them out because this is a really hard bomb site to defend on, and they've already failed it once, but they're getting the kills that they need to. That last one not being refragged means that they're going to continue to have this player advantage, but always watch out for Mex. He's just crouch walking into the bomb site. Do they have any idea? No, they don't. Evil Waffle gets caught off guard. Now he's watching the hatch. He knows where these players are. Just missed that shot. It's so important that he keeps his feet tucked in behind that scanner. Will he be able to do it? The pistol is out. The lime green pistol from Spades eventually finds the kill on a Mex, and that puts it on to his 2 teammates. Nugs and Aubenai to push forward. 1 minute to go to try to tie this game up. Frag grenade in hand. It's being primed. Looks like he's caught by an ADS. Mo's starting to creep around. He knows where these players are at, and he's got a read on them, but he's missing a couple of shots. Spades gets one. Aubenai, the last man standing. Will he be able to do it? Disrupt Gaming still got 3, looking for this win, and they'll find it. Round number 12 goes to them. 7-5. DG take the match.
Damn good game, and probably the best we've had in CL so far. That was so well played from both teams, and there's a lot they can take, both teams, from this game, but really a game. Oh, I'm sorry for your ears, everyone. This is the loudest thing I have ever experienced in a video game.
I love it.
Worse than when you press start on a game, they don't give you volume controls and it just screams in your ear. In the words of Xander Beauty Hair Yeti, Spades go. Because
16.
That was, it's not the amount of kills, it's the amount of important kills that we saw throughout that game. Spades took out Mex 1 round, the flank watcher on the ventilation defense. There he opened things up, he denied wall. Spades took out so many vital components of SG on attack and defense throughout that game. Everything he did was impact. He opened that triple kill up so they could just walk right into Armory and secure the kill. Unbelievable how well he is playing despite being surrounded by Yeti, Mo, Reed, all of these very... maybe not Reed, but Yeti, Mo, as far as named player... newbie. But named players that are known for fragging, and Spades is just, putting his hand on their chest saying, I got this. I'll do it. I'll do it instead. What a job! Really, you can't commend him enough. And it's in similar vein, Mex.
Yes. That's nuts, dude.
Holy curse word!
That was nuts.
That was unbelievable. And I said this prior, where Scylla's Guerrillas relied maybe a bit too heavily on one person fragging out. We saw it kind of there where one person was the only one really doing anything, and loading is normally that person. This time it was Mex. Not for nothing, but if I'm a coach, I'm talking about maybe a marriage of the two during a scrim. I don't know, maybe play ranked all together and see how loading and listen. You have one hell of a fragger on the bench right now in Mex, and he really showed up today. And granted, people don't just frag out. Luckily, it's a lot of teamwork and obviously being fed information. And I also mentioned that where Sales Guerrillas are very team-oriented, but that information being fed to a player has to be executed. And we've seen rounds where Mex dies first on entry, where Spades had taken him out in office, and how that round crumbles for SG. And then the rounds where he's up, uncoincidentally, they steamroll. So for Sales Guerrillas, you really need to learn to adapt without your top fragger throughout the rounds, and someone else has to take the mantle. Because despite Spades being on top, I mean, you had everyone else pretty close by, where even the fourth spot, I believe, was only 3 kills behind second. So you were like 11, 8, 7 kill. Everyone was still putting in their potluck essentially for that game.
Yeah, I think that's the issue, right? When you've got one player that you're really reliant on, even if that player changes up, maybe one day it's Mex, the next day it's not loading, doesn't really matter. But when everything sort of hinges on one team, whether your momentum is totally based off of whether one guy is fragging off or not, you're not going to be super consistent, and you're going to lose games to teams that just have solid fundamentals, have a great understanding of the game, and they just win it. Disrupt Gaming take our very first match of the night. We are going to throw it to a little bit of a break. We'll be right on back with our second match coming up next.